Hello, everyone. My name is Robert Lyden. As you all know, reviews with Rob, other Robert. And for everyone who is new to me on Instigator, my name is Robert Lyden, and I'll be doing Once Upon a Time discussions every week on Wednesday at 6 o'clock to discuss characters, episodes, themes, and elements, anything that you pretty much want to talk about for Once Upon a Time. And uh, I thought this episode would be perfect to discuss the Wicked Witch of the West, as she is probably one of my favorite characters on the show. I thought she just needs to be discussed in more detail because I have several opinions about Zelena, and I really feel that she needs to be talked over in depth. And pretty much this is what I'm going to start saying about her right away. She's a character who is so pivotal to the events of season 4 that, and she didn't even know all the stuff that she did and that caused everything in season 4 to happen. But we'll talk about that later when I get into a discussion about Ingrid in a couple weeks. So with this discussion of Zelena, I figured I would say Once Upon a Time loves to make villains who are either sympathetic or villains who you can love to hate or villains who you can just hate. And for me, that's Peter Pan, and that's the discussion in a couple weeks. Pretty much, Zelena is this villain that, she gets this tragic backstory, but it's not a backstory that is actually really tragic. It's pretty much she was abandoned at birth because her mother didn't want her. And she got sent to Oz, and then, she's raised with this alcoholic father and this mother. And, her mother dies. All fairy tale characters have their mother dying. That's just a run through of everything, except in the Once Upon a Time with Snow White being alive forever. Anyway, so her mother dies, and the father really can't stand her because Zelena has this magic. And, she goes to Oz, or the Emerald City, and she finds out that her mother abandoned her, and she has a sister, and her sister got everything she wanted. Now, that pretty much sparks her jealousy, which causes her to go, grieve. And that's actually it's not really sympathetic or tragic. She's a character who just can't get over herself. But I actually think that's what makes her a good villain, because by having her be so set in her ways, not willing to repent, being wicked because of the fact she just feels, shut out, and just not even shut out, that she just feels so neglected or, abandoned, and all she wants is to have her family. No, she doesn't even want a family who loves her. She just wants to have everything that was denied to her, and she will do everything in her power to get it. But one thing I will say about Zelena is she did not kill anybody that we know of. She turns them into flying monkeys, or she uses people for her own advantage, of course. She's wicked, and that's what the wicked characters do. But she never killed. On the entire span of her 11 episodes she was in, her 10 episodes, she did not kill one person, which I think is actually credible to her character, because her sister, Regina, who is now actually a relatively good character, has killed tons of people. And it's crazy to think that a character who has killed and wiped out many innocents is repentant, and a good character that we all really enjoy and love. And I am a very big fan of Regina, and I'll probably have to break her discussion up into several episodes because she's just kind of a wild character. But she's better than Rumpelstiltskin, in my opinion, and I'll be talking about later too. Anyway, so Zelena never actually killed anyone, and she just set in her own ways, and she goes about it in the best way she can to do it. So her main goal is to go back in time, stop her mother from giving her up, which would inadvertently cause Regina to probably not be born, because that means Cora would never have married Henry, who is Regina's father. So now that we have the essential backstory, we know in Oz, like I said, she was abused, and she just wants what she wants. And it's kind of a funny thing to say that and thank you, passenger, for it's almost worse to be a flying monkey, but at least you're alive. And when Zelena was killed, she her magic was undone. But what was kind of cool is when you're a flying monkey, besides the fact that you can't get killed, you don't age at all, because Walt was turned into a flying monkey when about 30 years ago, before the first Dark Curse was cast, and he was the same age. And then after Zelena lifted the spell on him momentarily, he was still the way he looked. So it kind of put you in a stasis, which is also why Aurora, when she got turned into a monkey, never had a flying monkey baby, which would have been really weird overall for the show to have for that. Now, Zelena is played by Rebecca Marder, who is a pivotal character in the show Lost, season 3 and 4. Now, I'm watching Lost right now, and I haven't even got to her character, so I'm excited to see what Rebecca will be doing in Lost. But overall, like, I felt that her portrayal of the Wicked Witch was just done really well. She just had like this conniving evil to her that made me enjoy enjoy it. Like, the Wicked Witch was probably one of my favorite villains on the show for like random villains that got thrown in, or like the new big bads that they would introduce. Now, another thing that I really yes, the monkeys were killed, but they were killed by our heroes, not by our witch, which is another reason to say, like, oh, they killed people, that could have been turned back. We don't know what really happened to them, but all we know is the monkeys that we care about did not die, being Laura and Philip, that are still alive, as we've seen in season 4. So with Zelena, I have to say, because she did not kill anyone, I felt that her death was quite unjustified at the hands of Rumpelstiltskin. When I talked about the Blu-ray of season 3 for Once Upon a Time, and that's also, by the way, a big thing on my channel. I review upcoming or new releases of Blu-rays as well as Once Upon a Time in movies. When I did the Blu-ray review of season 3, I kind of went on a little rant about how I felt her death was unjustified because, she had no magic, and then Rumpelstiltskin just totally, killed her. And like I said, that set off the stage for season 4 that happened. But so her death was pivotal for season 4, so it was a plot device. But besides being a plot device, I really felt it wasn't needed. Granted, she probably would never have wanted to have repented for her actions because she was set in her wicked ways. She didn't need to die. Like, she could have just kind of been a character that they more so wrote off, as opposed to a character that they, killed. I just don't like when a villain who is really enticing to me, dies. Peter Pan. If anyone has a question about Peter Pan, no, passengers, she did not kill Neil. Neil killed himself. She tricked him into resurrecting Rumpelstiltskin, but she did not kill him. She did not kill him. No. You have to rewatch episode 15. She did not do that. That was Neil's own fault, because Neil gave into darkness, or gave into his own temptation, just like his father did. It was very much a symbolic gesture back to that, and to Rumpelstiltskin, to Neil, both giving into dark magic to do something that they felt was right. So because she did not kill him again, now granted, she tricked him, so she's a tricker. She definitely has her moments for her wickedness, but again, we never see her actually throw a fireball and hit it and kill someone. No, she did throw a fireball at Dorothy in the episode Kansas, which is episode 20 of season 3. But that was to even trick Dorothy so that way she could get rid of Glinda. And she just banished Glinda back to the Enchanted Forest. But she did not kill Glinda, who she totally could have done, because Glinda wasn't as strong as Zelena. And yes, there was intent, but intent doesn't mean she did it. It's two completely different things that could be justified in a court of law. And as someone who studies law, I can definitely say Zelena's innocent in that regard, because it was Neil. She just kind of provoked him. It was Neil. Neil did it. He was tricked. You can say that Zelena was responsible for Neil's death, and all she did was put the idea in his head. But he went and did it. And he, Rumpelstiltskin, as he said to her, you didn't tell him the price. And, she didn't do it because she went, oops. Which, if you look on Rebecca Marder's Twitter, that's one of her quotes that she likes to use quite a bit. Oops. Anyway, my point is, yes, she's evil. She's just evil, and she doesn't want to change. And I think that's one of the reasons I really like her. For example, when she's fighting Regina in episode 16, I believe, of the show, she just wants to win so badly, but she doesn't want to kill Regina. She just wants her heart, so then she can pretty much pull the towel out and wipe the slate clean. So did anyone remember that episode at all? Anyone think that the episode should have been more drawn out with the battle? I kind of thought it was a little bit too quick, because pretty much what happened is they throw a go with what's the thing called, a traffic light, and they throw a traffic light, and followed by the traffic light, Regina gets thrown into a clock tower, and then Zelena tries to rebut her heart, and then that fails. Like that could have been like a much bigger battle, because that was the pivotal wicked versus evil battle besides the actual Regina defeating her in Kansas with her discovery of light magic. But overall, I just have to really say Zelena's death particularly was not a necessary, thing for her character. There could have been something else. I mean, her time travel portal, like I've said twice, and forgive me for repeating myself, that is what caused season 4 to happen. But that was just, had she not died, her portal never would have opened up, and had that never happened, then Elsa never would have come to Storybrooke, and it would have totally screwed up season 4. Like season 4 would have been a totally different season in that regard, unless she actually went back in time and did something herself. But that wouldn't even probably reference Elsa, because there's no way to do that. Oh, I know. Oh, Janine, yes. Removing her from existence is much more wicked, yes, than killing her. But again, she failed at doing it. My point overall is that because she hasn't been able to kill anyone successfully, or try. I mean, she wanted to. That's what she died. She was going to hurt my little baby. Is your little baby Regina? I'm curious there, because I love Regina. She's my favorite character on this show. I like her so much better than I like Emma or Mary Margaret, especially David, and I love her so much more than Rumpelstiltskin. She's a really iconic character. But my point overall is I just don't feel that the Wicked Witch's death was justified, especially in the way it was done. Her actions were quite evil, but her actions only affected a small amount of people. And had she actually successfully wiped Regina out, which I'm not saying to do, it would have actually caused all of Regina's evil to never have been done. And imagine how many lives could have been spared in that regard. But that's just a totally different topic that could actually probably really mess with someone's head, just because of the fact, time travel does that to you. That's why it's the time traveling episode. I had to actually rewatch it because I definitely did get confused with it. But okay, let's go. All right, where do I want to go with this? Because this is totally unscripted. All right, so in the Enchanted Forest, before we see her in present-day Storybrooke, she is really threatening to Snow White's baby. That's what she wants. She needs a pure child to open up her time portal. She must have somehow studied this over time. Well, because she didn't get affected by the dark curse, which causes into question like what the hell she was doing for 28 years, because she didn't age. So that's a little plot hole in the show that I would love to be addressed at one point, because apparently we might see her in season 4 in a flashback, which I think would be cool to see Zelena again. So, she threatens Aurora and Philip, and after they're threatened, they tell Zelena right away that she's back, and then, or that the Once Upon a Time cast is back in the Enchanted Forest. And now that they're back, she makes her move, and I thought one of the best episodes was episode 13, when Zelena confronted Regina, because Regina, who is clearly the fan favorite, was about to pretty much give up on her life, and Zelena sparks her to come back to being, the character that we really love, like that conniving or kind of evil but really good character, because she goes, I need someone to destroy, like someone that she hasn't had in a long time, something she hasn't had in a long time to do. And Zelena pretty much sparked Regina's to live again. So point to Zelena, she made Regina want to do stuff. But granted, that was to kill her. Now, another really cool thing that I liked about the Wicked Witch is, she's so threatening to Snow White that all Snow White wants to do is get back to Emma, so that way they can stop Zelena from doing her time travel spell. Now, when they cast the Dark Curse, they kill Prince Charming, and then, anyone happy that he died for those 2 seconds? Just saying, he's my least favorite of the main 6 or 8 characters. He's just really boring and generic in terms of a stereotypical prince. I don't feel like he's done too much. Overall, she puts a memory potion in the spell, in the Dark Curse spell, and that causes everyone's memories to be wiped away except for Zelena's for a year of a time in the Enchanted Forest. Now they go back to Storybrooke and they're pretty much wandering around, like having no idea what to do. They don't know how to get back to Emma, and it's only Hook who can bring back Emma, and that's what sets off, the season 3 events, or the mid-season 3 events. And I really like that Emma's back. Now I think Emma is a little boring, but I mean, imagine if the show was like trying to get her memories back and having Regina fight Zelena. Like, it'd been two completely different ideas, because Emma, there would be no reason for her to even to go to Storybrooke. So that's a totally different conversation. I just feel that she being Zelena put so much into the plot of the show, in terms of moving forward. A big thing, in a season 4 discussion that I don't get into, but I'll lightly touch on it now, is throughout all of season 4, he being Rumpelstiltskin is trapped under Zelena's control because of his bonds to the dagger, and he's controlled by her for a long time, and that pretty much causes him to regress back into being a villain in season 4. And I'll talk about season 4 in a little while, just because there's a lot of season 4, and also, it had such a crazy ending with the mid-season finale. But anyway, my point being, her capture and containment of Rumpelstiltskin caused him to lose the good character progression he had. She tricked his son to killing himself. Yes, I admit that she tricked him, but she did not do it. Then she's holding him prisoner, and she undid a lot of Rumpelstiltskin's good character progression that was going on. So, I mean, that's another reason to actually dislike Zelena, because I was really liking Rumpelstiltskin for a while, especially in season 3 when he died. I thought that his death was at the hands of Peter Pan, or his sacrifice at the hands of Peter Pan was really, perfect for his character, and then having him, do a total 180 there that I did not enjoy. But now I'll quickly touch upon her in Storybrooke. Now in Storybrooke, her plans are very much the same. She's still, herself, but not green. She's, she has a nice white complexion, and she is living in a farmhouse, which is a homage to, Dorothy and Oz in Kansas. And anyway, she is, trying to get Snow's baby because that's what she needs to cast the time travel spell. And when she fights Regina, I believe she fights Regina 2 or 3 times. I think it's 3, and Regina loses 2 out of the 3 times. It's pretty crazy to me that she just has this vital impact, and that might sound kind of random, but my point overall is she came to Storybrooke and pretty much took over. She has all these characters under like a scared, really, because the flying monkeys are surrounding the town's border, and they can't get out of the town, and then they're trying to figure out how to stop her, but she's so powerful there's no way to actually stop her. Plus she has Rumpelstiltskin on her side. So for being like the true iconic, like, Wicked Witch character that she is, the writers definitely had her character nailed down. And again, that's why I found her so interesting, because she's evil because she's evil. She has a little bit of that I feel neglected thing going on for her, but it's not like she's like Ingrid, who was evil because of a totally different reason, or Regina, who was evil because of a totally different reason. She never even wants to repent in these 11 episodes. She never tries. She just wants what she wants, and she'll do what she can to get it in the most conniving and sneaky ways that she can. So So one thing that I thought was really cool with Zelena is she progressed Rumpelstiltskin, or she digressed him. That's not a word, but I'm going to use that word from now on. Digressed, I like that. She progressed Regina, because the only way for Zelena to be defeated was by being a pure light magic. And Regina learned light magic, and really changed from being an anti-hero to a hero. She was definitely a hero in the beginning, but she was like a full-on hero in the in season 3 part B. And because of Zelena's influence in the town, Regina was able to learn light magic and able to stop Zelena from defeating herself, from Zelena from killing her or wiping her out of existence, as Jimmy mindset, which is pretty cool. I mean, the hashtag Wicked versus Evil was used for a long time in reference to this battle. So when they brought in the fact that only Emma was the one who could defeat her, I was like, that doesn't make sense because they were advertising Regina versus Zelena. So it definitely paid off in the end that Regina was the one to defeat her because, then they decide to take away Regina's happiness, which is just another awful thing that happened in season 3 that shook my heart really, really hard. I did not appreciate Robin, his dead wife, coming back. But overall, anyone has questions they want to ask me about Zelena, Regina, Once Upon a Time in general, please feel free to ask. I'm willing to answer. I'm a relatively big encyclopedia with these. I've been able to talk to the writers. I watch all the extras on the features, on the Blu-rays and whatnot. So I feel pretty confident that I can help you in terms of your Once Upon a Time questions. I always find these odd continuity errors or things I feel that they skipped. But anyway, that's a totally other conundrum. So as I'm getting closer to the end of the half hour, Zelena we find out in Kansas that Zelena's pendant is the reason why she's so powerful, because the pendant enhances her magic. And following the enhancement, if she loses the pendant, she's powerless. Now, I thought it was kind of funny that Glinda put the pendant on her without Zelena even consenting to it. So it's like, okay, now I have all this magic, but the second I lose the pendant, which isn't even like magically protected itself, I'm mortal again, which is kind of a bummer. Who wants to just lose all their magic? There's no way for you to recover it, apparently. So, long story short, the pendant is taken away. Regina hides it in her vault, and then Rumpelstiltskin kills Zelena. It's not so much in cold blood because, yes, she had a part in, killing Neil, but she definitely didn't technically do it. And then she dies. And I really was aggravated with her death. Now, I know that there are other people who said she should have died because she was evil or wicked. But once she died, I felt the show just lost a little bit of that twinge, because when we got into season 4, the Snow Queen was a threat. And I love the Snow Queen. I actually love the Snow Queen quite a bit. However, I felt that just her impact was not as great as the Wicked Witches was. If anyone agrees or disagrees with me, I would love to know why. I mean, even compared to Cora, who was really powerful and threatening as well, Zelena just didn't seem to compare. In Rumpelstiltskin's note, he wrote that, Cora was stronger than Zelena. Excuse me, that Zelena was stronger than Cora, which is crazy to think about. That, Cora was weaker than Zelena, and Cora was such a pivotal character in season 2. So the writers just keep finding ways to to make even stronger the characters. Kendra, I really think that Zelena's pendant would only come back into play if Zelena herself is somehow able to be resurrected, or unless Rumpelstiltskin finds some way to use it. I feel that the pendant is just kind of a useless artifact, because what happened, as we know, after she died, her magic went out of it and opened up the time portal. So unless Zelena's back, I can't see the pendant coming back as a pivotal thing. However, I can see her time portal coming back due to the fact that it only takes 4 ingredients to cast it, being courage, knowledge, a brain, a resilient heart, and an innocence. And all those ingredients are still in Storybook. So I feel if the characters didn't want to travel back in time, they actually have the ability to do it, because the engravings are still in Zelena's barn. And we know this because in season 4, when Elsa goes back into the barn to show them where she came out of the urn, the markings are still there. So no, I don't think the pendant will come back. However, I really am hoping that the writers will pull Zelena back into the show, just in maybe a flashback or something, because the missing year still had some things that were not always shown. One of them, not dealing with Zelena, but being Ingrid, because we don't know what the heck Ingrid did during that missing year, or how she even got back to Storybrooke. I'm assuming she was taken in the Dark Curse, but I don't know. It's all up in the air stuff in terms of what could happen. But I think season 3B was stronger to me than season 3 part A. Peter Pan, I was not a fan of, but I definitely would say with 4A and 3B, they're definitely on level. I'm really curious what's going to be happening with the season 4 part B, and I will say that when those come up, those episodes as they air in the beginning of March, I'll be able to discuss those even more because I have no idea. All I know is that Cruella de Vil, Ursula, and Maleficent are coming back, which are pretty cool. So that's quite a trio of villains, the Queens of Darkness, as they're called. But imagine if they had thrown Zelena back into it to some level. That would have been an interesting twist as well. I don't know. The show has a lot going for it, and it's definitely a show where characters that died, and they maybe not always stay dead. I mean, Rumpelstiltskin was dead. He came back to life. The Prince Charming was dead. He came back to life. So who knows? Maybe they'll find a way to bring some more characters back. If they bring her back, I'd be really happy. Like I said, she's my favorite. But if anyone else has a question, please let me know. I'm about to be wrapping up the show here, and I really hope you have enjoyed my discussion of the Wicked Witch. Just because I was a big fan. I thought Rebecca Marder played her very well overall. The acting helped in terms of Zelena as well for me. So to pretty much wrap up my yes, Janine, with Cruella having magic, it's supposed to be something on her back, according to Adam Horowitz. Her cape or her white jacket is covering up her whatever it is, and it's supposed to give her like low level magic to some degree. I can't explain it beyond that. I'm assuming that she has some type of animal skin on her back that is allowing her to do animal spells, because Adam did confirm that the Dalmatian that lured Belle away from Rumpelstiltskin's castle was not Pongo. So I'm assuming that Cruella might be able to shapeshift into animals to some degree. But Cruella, she's an interesting character because in the books and in the original story, Cruella is just a person. She's just a threatening corporate tycoon. So to see her and her approach will be interesting nonetheless in Once Upon a Time. But thank you. I'm really glad that you guys have enjoyed me talking about Once Upon a Time. And this is one of my favorite shows to really discuss. I'll try to bring in some more concepts as I come along. Next week, I'm going to either talk about Rumpelstiltskin or talk about Regina, definitely. I just really had wanted to pick off with Zelena because she's only there for so long that it's not enough to fill up several streams. And that'd be only if I did extra episodes in depth with her. But I'm not going to do that because season 3 is kind of relevant now. So next week, Regina, Rumpelstiltskin, anyone have a preference? And yes, low-grade animal magic does sound pretty gross. I totally agree with that. That is not I don't know. Maybe they'll do it in the best they can, like they always do. And in the end, they'll probably really like Cruella de Vil and probably really get upset when they kill her, which is what they keep doing to their villains. I just really hope they don't kill Maleficent because I was a very big fan of the movie Maleficent, and I know the only reason that Maleficent is coming back is due to that movie, which is why it's very similar to what they're doing with Frozen. So I just don't want Maleficent to die because she's a pretty cool character, and I'll talk about Maleficent later. When season 4 part B is out, I can do more of a discussion of Maleficent in Once Upon a Time. Her Disney counterpart I could talk about for quite a while because she's in so many materials. Anyway, as I'm about to finish up, let me just say thank you all for watching the stream. I appreciate it very much. I'm gonna have I'll try to make sure to definitely talk about Regina or Rumple, maybe even Ingrid next week. I'm going to focus on the villains for the first couple of streams, and then I'll get into maybe the heroes, and then finally the actual episodes themselves. So again, I really appreciate that's a horrible thing to say. I really appreciate everyone tuning in and watching the stream, and I'll be back next week. Please, if you like my videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Other Robert, where I post stuff all the time, videos of movies, reviews of movies, TV shows, Blu-rays, and anything else you can think of. So thank you guys for watching, and I will be back in a week on Instigator to talk about more Once Upon a Time. Bye.